Welcome to Teach Me a Lesson. I am Elliott G-B, and first off, I want to say thank you so much for checking out the podcast. In a day and age where, we just got everything at our pretty little fingertips. You could be anywhere, you could be watching anything right now, but you have chosen to sit down and check this out, and that's really great to me. Boy, that sure is swell. So I just want to say thank you, honestly, for all the support. I know we're going into a new year, and I have something kind of fun about that a little later. But yeah, I know this is just the beginning, but I hope this can be something great, and it can't be without viewers like you. Stole that from PBS, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, so thank you so much. If you could also, if you're enjoying the podcast, make sure to support, make sure to follow, subscribe wherever you're listening or watching. If you're watching on YouTube, smash that subscribe button, elbow drop the notification bell, just annihilate the like button, okay? And then you will know every time we drop a new episode or a new clip, maybe some live streams in the future. Who knows? You'll know because you're subscribed. Also, follow, subscribe wherever you're listening. If it's Apple Podcasts, make sure to drop a rating, 5 stars, 4 stars, 3 stars. As always, anything below that, email me and we will talk about it like adults, okay? Also, make sure to follow on all social media platforms. We are on Instagram and Twitter at TMALPod and TikTok at Teach Me a Lesson Pod. Facebook as well, just look up Teach Me a Lesson Podcast. Again, that is TMAL Pod on Instagram and Twitter, and Teach Me a Lesson Pod on TikTok. Also, bang, right there, if you're watching, join the Patreon for just $5 a month. That is the price of a cup of coffee, a fancy cup of coffee. If you're paying $5 for some drip coffee, boy, what's Manhattan like? And that's just some regional humor. I've been there a couple times, and so I think I get it. I pretty much get it. But yeah, for just $5 a month, that is my personal Patreon, but you will get bonus content for each episode. If you join now, that means you get all the content for the past episodes as well as all the future ones. And that is pretty fun because I tell you what, I've had to cut some good stuff out of these episodes. This one in particular is such a great conversation. It was very tough to cut stuff out, but alas, I had to for time, for brevity, which is why I'm talking a little fast in this intro, trying to keep it short. But yeah, so if you check out the Patreon for this episode, you will get a great take on the new live action Cowboy Bebop. If you have any thoughts about that, so does Arlo. And they made their point heard. That's it. That's the saying. Yeah, just a good time. This is a great episode. I really like it. Honestly, don't tell the past guests, but one of my favorite conversations so far. They've all been great. But this is just a really good one. It was very eye-opening for me personally. You will find out why very soon. There's some things I learned about myself, possibly, in this. That's kind of all I can say without giving away too much. Also, we talk about something that happened in a past episode with Alyssa. Some points that were made about trigger warnings by me that did not come across the way that I wanted them to. Did not make the point I was trying to make. And Arlo brings that up and we have a discussion about it. Very good, very fun. And with that being said, let me put a little trigger warning on this because we do talk about grief and death and dying in this episode. So if that is a tough subject for you, then maybe skip ahead once that comes up. But yeah, the more you know. So let's get into this real quick though. Before we do, I just want to say Arlo's camera does cut out towards the end. We had a little issue with that, but it's really the last 6-7 minutes. So if you're watching, it's just going to be a still of them from the podcast. So it just looks like they're doing a good ventriloquism act. If you're listening, this has nothing to do with you. Again, thank you for listening. It's not like I'm like, get out of here, scram. It's got nothing to do with you. Get out of here. But yeah, that won't change anything. For you, the audio quality might go down a little bit, but it's not too bad. But also, so the thing with this next year is I do want to say this will be out. It'll be the same time that this is out. When you're hearing this, go check out the social media pages because I do want to do a sort of not like a chain message or anything like that, but kind of like a vision boardy manifesty thing. Hear me out, because a big driving factor for me as a creative is being able to potentially work with people that I look up to, or just kind of people that I like their energy and kind of what they bring to the table, how they go about things. Specifically, a specific example of that is, or was, I should say, Mac Miller. Wasn't a huge fan of him in the beginning, didn't really listen to much. And then around 2016, listened to The Divine Feminine and was like, damn, I done goofed on this guy. And then, yeah, for the next few years after that, was really a huge fan, and just always kind of knew the drive within myself. I was like, okay, one day I'm going to be able to work with him. I'm going to get to that level where I can do that. And unfortunately, he passed away. And that seems to be happening. I mean, it's always happened, but that, these days, a lot's going on. So kind of a driving factor for me, or I guess a little boost on that, is to be like, all right, let's make it happen sooner than later, because you never know what's going to happen. We talk about that a little bit in the episode. Again, back to the grief death thing. Yeah, so I thought about it'd be kind of cool to be like, who's someone you want to work with in the future? Who's someone you hope that you can collab with, or someone that you just want to give their flowers to and say, I dig your stuff, whatever you do, whether it's music, art, writing, dance, whatever it is, just kind of give them their flowers that way while they're still here and they can see it. So you can either, this will all be in the post, but you can either tag them, you don't have to tag them, just whatever. And who knows, maybe they'll see it and then they'll check your stuff out and they'll be like, damn, this person's dope, let's do something right now. Who knows? Or maybe they won't look at it at all. Who knows? There's no way to know, because right now we're trying to tell the future and that's impossible. So definitely go check out the Twitter for sure. Instagram, it'll all be there. Again, that's TMAL pod, Instagram and Twitter. Teach Me a Lesson pod on TikTok. But enough about all of this. I'm out of breath from talking so fast. Enjoy this episode. My great friend, my friend, soon to be yours, great comedian, great actor. You know them from Timmy Failure on Disney Plus. If there's any plus heads in the house, you know what I'm saying. You know who you are. You know who you are. But yeah, enjoy this episode. It's great. One of my favorites, the wonderful Arlo Weierhauser.
My bit was, you can activate other people's theory.
Oh, God.
So when that guy is like being a dick at the grocery store, just be like, hey, Siri, call mom. And she fucking will.
And then he's like, no, stop.
It's not illegal. I might bring that bit back, actually.
That is actually really good. Yeah, you want to fuck with me? You think you're a tough guy? Siri, call mom. No! Mom, I'm sorry. I'll call you later.
Siri doesn't give a fuck. She will dial.
That's insane. Siri is just like that neutral, just neutral chaos. That's what chaos. She is. Just absolutely. Neutral chaos. She's like, I am on no side.
It's an air sign, if you care. She's absolutely an air sign.
Oh my God. Well, let's get it. I can't think of a better way to get into it. What's your lesson? What do you want to talk about today?
Oh, no beating around the bush for an hour and 9 minutes.
They don't need to know about the tech issues. They don't need to know about that.
They don't need to know. I really wanted to bring to you just a bummer of an episode about
Let's bring it down.
Car safety and driving safely, but like everyone hates that. But really, it's so fucking important to just drive safe and stop using your phone, and just imagine yourself as like a fighter pilot. You know what I mean? Like, you're in charge of one thing, and it's like getting your stupid little precious cargo to work, and like, stop looking at fucking Instagram. Like, it's not even that good, and like, now everything's reels, and like, the reels are shitty, so like, your life is not worth that. And if you think that I do not use the tragic death of my mother as emotional ammunition, you're wrong, bro. You're wrong because I use it all the time. Well, cue how you want to drive drunk, I guess. That's how I lost my mother. Anyway, so that was gonna be it, but
Oh, that's not it.
no.
Okay, cool. I wrote it down. I'm gonna scratch it off.
That's cool. Drive however the fuck you want. um my lesson today is just that, like, um do your best or do half of your best, and that's good enough too. This is the lesson. If there's anything worth doing, it's worth doing half-ass. This is something that I learned like 2 years ago, and it's helped my ADHD brain a lot because I think a lot of us were raised under this guise of like, if it's worth doing, you do it 1,000%. You know what I mean? Like, do it. But the truth of it is, if it's worth doing kind of shitty, and that's okay too. Because think about things that you like that are critical to your day-to-day life that you actually really need to be doing, and it's like bathing your stupid body and like eating fucking food or what, you know what I mean? Like being gay, I don't know. It's just it's worth doing. It's worth doing half-ass. Because brushing your teeth half-ass is better than not doing that shit at all.
True.
Eating a tiny, you know what I mean? Chips and salsa at midnight. Shout out, chips and salsa midnight. Is better than not eating any food whatsoever. Getting half dressed. Huh? Half dressed. Better than not getting dressed. You know what I mean? This could be titties out.
Could be that. I mean, I don't think YouTube would like that, but just the
Who knows
company.
what they're into.
The company, but who knows? You know, they could be trying to rebrand. They've pissed a lot of people off lately. This
could just be binders up.
They could just be like, hey, we're cool now. We don't care about that stuff. They're like Steve Buscemi with the, hey, how do you do, fellow kids?
Hello,
Yeah.
fellow children. Yeah, it's worth doing half-ass. So like, you know, this has come up a lot this year specifically for me. Like, I was invited by my literal father to participate in a week-long trauma processing online therapy workshop with him. Did I say yes? Kind of. Yeah. Did I commit to the whole thing? Not really. But did I do it half-ass? Yes, the fuck I did. And from that half-assery, I got some shit done. And if you're interested, it was The Wisdom of Trauma by Gabor Mate, or Gabbermate
if you're doing it half-assed.
Yes, if you're in the same joke family as me and my dad. Gabor Mate. Oh, you mean Gabbermate? Yeah. But he has this guy made this movie about how all of our shit is affected by our trauma, and it helps identify a bunch of your trauma, but then it also like branches out into like the trauma of being born. It's horrible. And like where addiction comes from and how so much of addiction is from trauma, and how our brains are like, this is how we're going to survive. Like, this trauma is so severe. Here's this thing. You know what I mean? Like, it sucks, but like, we're alive, aren't we? It's like it rationalizes a lot of stuff, but it also gives a ton of light into your behaviors and your like dysfunction, especially if you come from a, you know, spicy background. Just like
is this another
like
YouTube?
An interesting origin story.
Yeah, is this another YouTube rebranding where they're like, we welcome anyone, even if you have a spicy background?
Yeah, if you use your origin stories on a first date to vet candidates,
get on YouTube.
Get in here.
Start
it's
a channel.
Helpful. It was a good thing. And yeah, I half-assed it. but I did get a lot of benefit out of it. I'm also not a big reader. I'm all audio. You know what I mean? Like it has to literally be forced into my ear brains for it to get in there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I listened to and I like watched a bunch of these because it was the thing was that it was like a week long seminar or whatever, and you had like 5 or 6 videos to watch a day of like talks and interviews, and like sometimes it was just like poetry and we're like fucking get after it, and then sometimes it would just be like Jamie Lee Curtis, okay, she was in there. Also interesting, wearing the same GD suit that she wore for so many promo events for like, I don't know, it's just like a repeat, and I love to see a fucking repeat outfit
Yeah.
for, you know what I mean? Like an A-lister. Ugh, I love it.
Yeah.
It was good, and I did it medium. Rather than fretting myself the fuck out and not doing it at all, I did it half-ish. And I only watched the ones that I liked, and then I didn't watch a bunch of other ones. But you know what I fucking did? I watched in-depth psychoanalysis videos with my father, and then we talked about them after. Like, we got a lot of work done regardless of my commitment level. And he kind of did about the same too, but yeah. So if it's worth doing, it's worth doing half-ass. I don't know about you, but a lot of friends have died over the last 2 years, and also in my whole life. And like giving myself that out to be like, you don't have to process every single part of their mortality, friendship, death, relationship, you know, right now.
Yeah.
You can just do this little part right now. That's okay too. Has made it not, yeah, kind of easier or like less traumatic. Because there's like 2 traumas that happen when you lose a friend. It's like the trauma of losing them, and then the trauma of feeling like we fucked up, right? Or like we, you know what I mean? We lost them, but we're also losing this like opportunity to have been a better friend, or to have been there more, or to have done something different. And so it kind of eases that into like, this is the cold hard reality, and I'm going to do what I can right now.
Yeah.
Which is like, my friend Emily just, surprise, I just had a friend die this week, and I known her since we were in junior high. I moved in with her after my sister died. And like, this bitch, god damn it, like put my fucking life back together. Elliott, she was who I moved in with right after my therapist was like, have you thought about stand-up? And I was like, could you focus?
Wait, hold on. First off, very sorry for the loss.
Thank you.
Sad to hear it.
Of course.
I don't mean to take away from that at all.
But we yeah.
Your therapist suggested you do stand-up? That's who, like...
Bro, that's how I got into stand-up.
That's how you got the ball rolling?
Yeah. I was like forced, it seems like a strong word, but it's not inaccurate.
But your therapist was like, this copay will go up if I don't see you at those mics.
No, it's that I went specifically to like see a grief therapist right after my sister died, because I make no qualms about it. I lost my ever living mind when my sister died. Like, I didn't know what was up, what was down. Like, it wrecked me. So I started seeing this therapist that specializes in grief, and like, not to brag, but I made her cry kind of a lot. And
cha-ching.
Really getting that money's worth. I just want you to know that I'm your most serious client.
I want you to know every day when I'm showing up, be ready. Okay?
Yeah.
Eat your lunch beforehand. Get your rest. When I'm showing up, There's no half-assing it.
I'm gonna fuck up your day, babe. And I did. I fucked up her day a lot. But she was a very good grief therapist too, because she recognized, very early on, this isn't just the loss of your sister. This is also, you know what I mean, your whole fucking life leading up to this, and like made it really plain that like, yeah, a lot of bad stuff has happened that I hadn't processed in a really healthy way, blah blah blah. So it was a couple months in, like it wasn't immediate. She was like, "You're funny,"
Yeah.
so I'm just weeping. Good storytelling.
You're like halfway through getting her caught up on your life. She's like, "Let me stop you right
Yeah.
there. Has anyone ever told you you're a fucking hoot? You are just a racket."
Too good. It was a couple months in, but she was like, "Really, have you thought about being a performer?" And I was like, "Not since alto sax jazz band." Also, I was kicked out of community theater as an actor and became stage manager, and I was so good at it. But I was like, "No, I have not seriously considered this. And again, can you focus?" And then, anyway, so that seed was planted, and like everything in my life, if I'm given a challenge that I don't like, I have like a badger like tenacity to fucking go after it, to prove you wrong, which is fun. And I ended up moving back to Portland, and this thought was in the back of my head. So anyway, Emily, who very, very sadly passed this week, was the person who I moved in with, helped me put my fucking life back together, and was the person that as soon as she got home from work, would be like, "Sit down, I think I have a joke," and would like practice on her. You know what I mean? Like with hairbrush, sit, listen. Okay, I think this is like 3 minutes. Okay, listen, and like practice on my little stand-up bits about her. She was there at the beginning of this stupid stand-up, thing, and like we got so into juicing when we were together. Anyway, dude, we got like obsessively into juicing. This is, yet another friend that's died over the last 2 years. And it guts us.
Yeah.
It guts me. It guts you. It fucks us up. But her name is Emily, but she would go by Bear. So Bear was like the most adult person I've ever met in my life, who like knew about shit and like how to get shit done in kind of an amazing way. So that was kind of inspirational. But the overarching thing there, just being like, do the best that you can. It's okay to half-ass grieving, because it feels like a ton when you get hit with the fucking news. And like, shout out my friend Justin, who I've also known since I was 10 years old, and we've been very good friends since we were in 5th grade, who had to call and tell me the fucking news. It feels like a avalanche of grief when you're told the news, and it's okay to piece that shit out. It's okay to do a half-ass attempt at honoring the life of a whole person. You're never going to get that perfect. That's going to take the rest of your life. You're going to have that wound and that hurt forever. Let me tell you, as someone who lost their literal mama at 6 years old, again, just to bring it back to the safe driving thing, you're going to spend the rest of your life managing that wound. Don't get stuck in having to do all the grieving, period. Don't get stuck in that. Grieve, and then give yourself a fucking break. And it's okay to laugh at how stupid you are about the barcode on a cereal box. Like, it's okay. Give yourself a half-ass out. Doing it all at once will probably do more damage than you're maybe capable of dealing with.
Yeah.
It's okay to half-ass some shit. Did I take a shower today? No. But did I wash my face really good? Yes. Half-ass some shit. It's okay.
Do you think that kind of feeling of I need to get it all not over with at once, but I need to face it all head on right away, Do you think that kind of comes from sort of like a societal pressure of the world is moving on, whether you want it to or not, and so you kind of
Yeah,
gotta to get over this and get back to it? Or is it more of like not like you want to get it out of the way, but
sure.
do you think it could kind of be that too, where it's like, well, I'm gonna have to go through this one way or another, so let me kind of try to push through as much of it right now as I can?
I think that absolutely names like two of these like weird prongs of coping with shit that feels normal and is absolutely not normal. And that is, if I don't honor them with every single fiber of my being, I'm somehow cheating this grief and I'm cheating the loss of my friend. I'm cheating my friend or my
Yeah.
family member or whoever, is gone. And also that almost episodic obsession with like doing it all within a time constraint and doing it in a way that like, SVU would approve of. Because we see it so often, and I think this also pollutes our brain
Mm-hmm.
of like we see loss, we witness loss all the time, and I hate it. I never don't have notes. Like it's insane every single episode of like SVU that's like this girl just got murder raped, you know what I mean? Some horrible fucking thing. And then cut to her literal mother just in the interrogation room being like, well, what else can you tell us? And she's just like, well, she was a friend to everyone. No, that's not a for that depiction of grief is insane.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's so robotic. It's not where you need to be. And to keep it together for others, push that off the table completely. Get that the fuck out of here. Do not keep it together.
Yeah.
Let it all out. And if you don't even have the energy to let it all out, let a little bit out. And it might just be something gross or weird or nasty. Who cares? Let a little bit out. That's
Yeah.
okay too. Yeah. I think it's both things.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't lost a lot of friends, but I'd say kind of my first best friend when we were early 20, I think it was 2014, maybe the very beginning of
Mm,
2014. She passed, and we were like best friends since middle school. Like we would stay on the phone all
it's not
night and
even
all that stuff.
fair.
And
Yeah.
then towards the end of high school, after high school, we grew apart, but I would still run into her when we'd be out and stuff like that. And kind of instantly, it was just the same, the same thing.
It
Even though
doesn't
she
matter where
was
we left it. We pick right the fuck back up. Yep.
exactly, yeah. And she was off, doing a whole different thing. And I, at that time, wanted to be a chef. And I
You
remember it.
did?
Yeah, I did.
Oh,
And
I
I
gotta see
remember
this for
telling
you.
her about that. I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm working at this restaurant. And she was just like,
Yeah.
she was like, it makes sense. Like, you always like to cook. She would always come
You
over
love
and I'd like,
cocaine. I'm
and I'd
sorry.
fucking try stuff out on her, and this and that. And she's just like, yeah, you would always do stuff like that. And yeah, I remember finding out about it. And like, obviously, you're gutted. And it's such a shock. And then, I mean, I was early 20s, so I was drinking a bunch. So I drank a whole hell of a lot. And
Yeah.
so I don't really remember the stages after that. But I do kind of remember thinking, like you're saying, like, how do I best honor this person? And at times thinking, like, should I get a tattoo? Should I, like, do this? Should I do that? And then I never really got to it. But I'm learning now,
Yeah.
like you said, it's like that person stays with you just as you go. Because now that I do comedy, I think of the same thing. I'm like, I'm not like consciously thinking, all right, what jokes can I make that Leslie would think funny? But I'll come up with stuff that I'm like, oh,
Ooh, that bitch would love
she
that.
would have loved. I made this some fucking, I'm not trying to plug anything, but this merch that I made, this like keychain that's like MySpacey vibes. As soon as I did it, I was like, Leslie would fucking, terrible choice of words. She would fucking die if she saw it.
Yeah.
She would
Wait,
think it
what
was
fucking
so funny.
MySpace keychain do you have?
I'll show you. I'll show you. But
Okay, go.
yeah, it's that kind of thing where it's like they don't leave you, and especially when it's someone like that was kind of, either with you at such an important time as that and helped you out so much, or an important time as just growing up and going through middle school, high school, after high school, and seeing that and just being and just rocking with you that whole time, that stays with you and you sort
Yeah.
of have that understanding of them. And so every time, whether you see something they would like or something reminds you of them, it's like that's
Dude.
still there, but it doesn't, there's nothing you can do to make it go away. You can't force your way through all of the healing because you don't even have access to all of it right away.
Ding, ding, ding. That's a huge part of it. You don't have access to all the ingredients or the steps or the know-how or literally the time. And that's, to me, the most annoying aspect is like, so I started to learn how to grieve when I was 6 years old, and I learned in a really fucked up way because we were raised in the church and we were raised in a really fundamental evangelical fucking Southern Baptist inspired church. Like before my mom died, we literally we bought a Winnebago. We don't have Winnebago money, dude. We bought a Winnebago with the congregation of a church to go on the road to sell our pastors like sermons on VHS tape. And
Oof.
we're like, God probably loves this. You know what I mean? Like
Yes.
Jesus probably,
God loves a tape.
yeah, designed this whole program. So like we were so deep into that church even before she died that like I was surrounded by those same church folk, you know what I mean, after she
Mm-hmm.
died, obviously. But their level of delusion, the reason I bring up the Winnebago is just this level of like delusion was so prevalent that I in no way was even allowed to grieve in a way that you would deem healthy as a child.
Yeah.
I was given this script that if you're really, really good, your mom will come back. So
Ooh.
no pressure except for all the fucking pressure. And if you do wrong, you're probably never going to see your mom again. So, like, my learning about grieving started at such a young age, at such a fucked up place that I had to learn later through subsequent losses how to grieve for myself and
Mm-hmm.
how to grieve in a way that, like, actually accomplishes things. Believe me, I was given the opportunity. Um, losing my grandfather and losing my uncle was more of a healthy grieving process though. And then, as we get older, our friends start to fuck up and make really bad they're
Yeah.
too fun.
Yeah.
And sometimes you lose friends along the way that way. But like, yes, I feel like I've been grieving for a long time, like my whole life, literally my whole life, but I've gotten better at it, which is dark, but also you do get better at it. I look at my parents a lot for this. Like I look at my dad and his wife because they're both 74 and like boomers, but like fun boomers.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like they did all the cool shit
Yeah.
and they're still in that like hippie vibe of just like, yeah, people are people, get the fuck out of here. If you're transphobic, I'll kill you. Like they're rad as hell. But believe me when I say that they're like experts in losing friends. They're 74. A lot of people have died. They've been given the opportunity to learn. That's how they kind of like regard it. Of like, we've been given opportunities to learn every time we lose a friend. And I guess we just learn. And that's fucking dark. But yeah, it's okay to do it half good. It's okay. It's just okay.
Yeah.
Half is okay.
I mean, that just makes me think of really just kind of the way you describe that, the just half-assing it, and that's okay, is just like the overarching theme of just kind of be kind to yourself and
Yeah, I struggle with
no.
that one more than at least do it half ass, you dipshit.
Well, no, I mean like the way, but the way you explained it though is
Yeah.
like washing your face is better than nothing. Like that
Yeah.
kind of way. It's like it's better than nothing. So if you, and it is like you said, that kind of all or nothing mindset that we've been ingrained in this freaking country at
In
least,
this
which I am
society.
very curious if you're a listener in another country and you have also had that experience of you gotta work hard and as hard as you can all the time, otherwise it's no good and this and that. Sound off, comment or repost or do something. Let us know, because I think that'd be really interesting, because I just know in America, definitely with the, capitalism, and everyone needs to just pull themselves up by their bootstraps and this and that.
Yeah.
Just that stress ever since you're a kid of, I need to not even do my best, but I need to do well. I think that's where it gets lost, is you think doing your best means you're automatically going to succeed, almost,
That doing your best is the Little League championship. Honey, your best just isn't going to win medals sometimes.
Yeah, exactly.
And the sooner that you get acquainted with that feeling that, like, yeah, sometimes your best just ain't shit, I think will, like, speed you towards acceptance, towards other really important things. Sometimes half-ass is as good as it's going to get.
Yeah.
And you are going to get a D.
And
that's okay too.
That just made me think, is not even half-assing it. It's like kind of your best is a sliding scale based on that day. So maybe one day what you do is considered half-assed compared to another day what you're capable of and what you can do. But on that day, that's kind of all you could do, Hey, I deal with depression, anxiety, heavy. Sometimes just getting out of bed and talking to my roommates, that's my 110%.
Bro, I did. Okay, when your pants betray you, and
go on.
It only happens when you're in like a super bad mood, but your like belt loop hooks on the door handle.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I literally gave up the other day and was like, nope, back to bed. That's it. I didn't have a lot to start today, but that's it. And I literally crawled back into bed and was like, fuck it.
You tried.
Yeah, and like 4 hours later, like I got hungry, so I got out of bed again. But like,
but you steered clear of that door.
That's all I could do. And yeah, maybe future me will have like better coping mechanisms. I don't have them right now. That it defeated me, so I got defeated.
Yeah.
Not to be like fatalistic, but like nobody died for this once. This once.
Again, just want to put it on record, just this once.
Because my belt loop got stuck on the door handle. But like, I give up. And that's what I needed to do for my mental health that day. Could I push through? I don't know. And I don't care.
And honestly, there's no way to know, because it didn't happen. You only get one choice kind of with everything.
Yeah.
That's the reality of it.
ADHD makes that shit more severe. Does that make sense?
Makes what more severe?
Like, you might have a choice right now, but you're not doing it. Like executive dysfunction, procrastination, rejection sensitivity, dysphoria, inattentiveness, weird relationship with food, like tactile shit, all ADHD stuff across the board makes that feel more severe, where it's like, I think I'm doing my best, but like, what if I could just do a little bit better? But it's like your ADHD like sometimes won't. It makes you beat yourself up, is my point. Like sometimes your mental shit, whatever, will lend you to beating yourself up rather than believing that this was the best that I could do that day.
Yeah.
And that's tricky too. That's really hard too.
Yeah. That's something I've been dealing with my therapist a lot recently. Not ADD or ADHD, which I am curious about. I don't know if I'm going to keep this in, but I am curious about, because recently, or I guess within the last year, seeing my therapist is when I found out I'm an overthinker. And you'll love this. She fucking slid it in just so like just smooth, and it completely rocked my shit. Like, it was one of those, like, all the pieces come
Oh, yeah.
together. Because we were
Yeah.
talking about something, and it was, like, kind of
Like,
towards...
beautiful mind moment where
Oh
it's
my
like
God. It was, like, towards the end of the session, and she's like,
yeah.
okay, well, you got this coming on, and, like, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, but, just try to, like, just kind of take it easy and not... She's like, I
That's
know you have a
another
tendency to
thing.
kind of overthink things and all that. And I was like...
Formulas.
like, it all makes so much fucking sense.
How did you not know this? I mean,
I
I know
don't
you're a
know.
dude, but like, how did you not know this about yourself?
Well, every time I would like kind of get near it, my Adam's apple would just like knock it out of the way, and then I had no idea. No, but see, in my mind, I
God
just
bless
thought
men.
it was like I'm just trying to see everything from every angle,
Absolutely.
and then
Vigilance.
try to make the best decision based
Yes.
on whatever it is. And so where that would really fuck me up though is emotionally, especially
Yeah.
when I got depressed when I was 18, when it like really hit and I got hospitalized. That's when it fucked me up, because I would be feeling a certain way, especially about a relationship. I would be feeling a certain way, or something would
Yeah.
happen. It would get me really depressed. It'd get me in my head, but then I would rationalize why I shouldn't be feeling that way.
Absolutely.
And then I beat
Because of all
myself
these
up.
fucking things I thought.
I beat myself up like, if I can figure it out up here, why can't I stop it? And that would just be, and then I'd make myself feel worse, and it'd just be a terrible, terrible cycle. But then, kind of once I started cooking and working on the line and getting really procedural,
In,
I guess, with
yep.
everything of being,
Engaged in
yep,
a physical repetition
mm-hmm,
that lets
and being like, okay, I can
that lets your
organize.
the busy part of your brain be
Yes,
engaged and lets the deeper thoughts come through. Tell me what
yep.
you discovered, because
But
then
it's
I'll
like,
tell you what I just discovered.
I can organize shit, and I can think, okay,
Yeah, bro, we're amazing at it.
let me put this here, and then seeing other
Yeah,
people work and being like, oh, why do you put that there? Why do you do this? And they're like, because
because I
then if I
hate
do
it.
this, then it makes this easier. And then I'm like, oh, and that's where my brain is like, fuck, this is so hot. Like, keep going.
Fucking
Just
good.
type A, type A, type
Dopamine.
A. Let's go. And so that's what I like love. And then when I stopped drinking and started got really into writing and comedy and all that, that's when I started falling in love with the process of, I have this idea. Let me figure out the best way to do it, whether it's stand up, a sketch, humor,
Yeah,
essay, or something. But so I would fall in love with the process of, okay, I have this idea. And especially with stand up, it's like, let me write it out and then go to a mic or a show, try it, see how it
procedural.
works,
Fucking procedural.
come
Yeah,
back, tinker with it again, and then go back out, try it again, come back, blah, 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 blah. Then overthinking, I didn't realize that bled over into everything in my life, where I'm like, okay, let me try to think of just like going to the store. What's the best way I can do it? But then also my therapist has helped me realize, and I'm curious how you feel about this as a creative person, or as an artist who kind of has to be self-driven. You can't, it's not like, I work for this company and we do this. It's like, this is all on me. That pressure of, I need to use every day perfectly and manage my time perfectly for all of this to pay off. That constant pressure is then insanely stressful.
and kind of constant bad mood.
Yes. And that kind of all blends back into how I've learned being kind to yourself and
Yeah.
understanding what your 100% is that day.
Yep.
Because it's like, what do you mean? Why would I go to a movie? I could be working on this. I could be editing
Right.
this. I could be doing that. Like, if I don't do it, no one will. And then you realize, oh, I'm not taking any days off. And then also, kind of like you said, that is this the best choice? Where you're like, all right, I'm staying home. I'm working on this. Should I be out doing this? Should I be
Yeah,
out
is
at
this
this show? Should I be
stupid?
out networking? Should I be
Yeah.
out? What should I be doing?
Yeah,
And
and
so
even
then,
as a task, should I go and do a thing with a friend because I'm supposed to do those too?
yeah,
Because now
yeah,
that feels like a job as well,
yeah,
because it's now on the list, and the list is stupid, and I hate the list. But that's on it too. Should I go fuck around, get really stoned, and watch a movie? Well, maybe that would be good for me. Well, maybe I'll think of something funny. Well, now it's on the list as a maybe task to accomplish. Elliot, I don't know how to say this to you, so I'm just going to say it. Have you been, you've never been diagnosed with ADHD?
no,
Do you want to be?
Let's do it.
I didn't think that I had ADHD because I was tested for it one time as an entire class of 31 students. And the test was this like audit, like state sanctioned, whatever, like audio that they played that said all the symptoms of ADHD right at the beginning that I found very hard to listen to and pay attention to. But by the time that I tuned in, the part that I glommed onto was like ADHD kids have a really, really, really hard time hearing and understanding instructions at the beginning of a lesson. Like they'll tune in later, and I'm like, that's crazy. So what I did was like harness all my like third grade brain or fourth grade brain into whatever you do, listen to what they say at the fucking beginning, right? Because that's how we beat it.
Yeah.
So I got the beginning part of the lesson or instructions, did not process the rest of the instructions until I was literally done with my test, and then realized like, oh, I missed like the other part, and like had a friend help me. The thing is, oh yeah, a lot of us have ADHD and beat it. Like think that we outsmarted it. I was also in TAG. I was in Talented and Gifted. I was in all accelerated programs. I was at like an 8th grade reading level, at 5th grade. You know what I mean? Like I was in all those things. To this day, if I start something that I'm not immediately amazing at, I fucking quit out of rejection sensitivity dysphoria. And that's the thing that for some reason our brains are just wired in this way where like the risk of being rejected or of failing is outweighs everything else in such a heavy way that it like fucks us up personality wise. Like we'll compensate by being gregarious, outgo, you know what I mean? Like we'll develop charm out of the fear that someone might not like us later down the road. Executive dysfunction comes up where it's like, it's not that I don't want to do the thing because God damn it, I fucking want to do the thing because I know I need to do the thing. And also I know that it will give me a sense of accomplishment and I just want to be done with the thing. Oh, I want to do the thing. Why aren't we doing the thing? Well, I need something. I don't know what it is. Dopamine or serotonin or something, but I can't. But I'm still not doing the thing, even though I want to do the thing. Bro, like, I have a weird kink for laundry. Not to brag, but like, like, I love doing laundry. I can't do it often. And it's that, like, looking at myself and learning that, like, acceptance of, like, ADHD makes me not, like, even able sometimes to do the thing that, like, I love doing laundry.
Yeah.
It feels so good.
Yeah.
There's a lot there. I think you might be ADHD as well. Also, I was diagnosed at 29, 30. Forgot. Classic ADHD. Yikes. You know what I mean?
And then you go back however many years later, and you're like, I think I might have ADHD. And then they open your chart and they're like, we have never nailed a diagnosis more. They're like, they're printing it out. They're printing it out. You're like, oh, is that for me? You're like, no, we're putting this on the fucking wall because this is insane.
It came up because a doctor years later was like, you know, what drugs do you take? You know, you have that conversation where it's like, what drugs do I take? Or like, what drugs do I take?
Yeah.
It's like, well, I take like Addies, but like not recreationally. And he was like, what do you mean? And I was like, well, like buy them because I know this sounds crazy, but I function better. And he was like, yeah, because here in your chart. Oh, I knew it was something. Fuck, I knew I forgot something.
You're like, I don't know, this may sound crazy to you. And he's
Right.
like, it's not because I'm looking at your medical history right now.
Also, it feels like cocaine doesn't really work on me anyways.
Wait, when you say it doesn't work, do you mean like the.
Elliot. I mean, it feels different for ADHD people than it does for normcore
Is it
dorks.
like the euphoria thing? Do you not feel that?
No. But we do feel less drunk.
Oh, fuck. I think I have ADHD.
I know, bud. I know.
All right, I gotta make some calls. This has been a great episode.
Teach me a lesson, I fucking dare you. But, okay, and now everything will be more clear to you when you accept that most of where our motivation comes from is following the dopamine. Think about where the dopamine comes in your life. Think about where that good feeling comes. Is it frosting? Maybe. Is it shred of wheats? Maybe. Is it likes? Is it validation? Is it this?
Yeah.
This is where motivation comes from. And when you identify that oh, my brain's just like drunk for you're like insane for dopamine, it becomes a little bit easier to steer it towards more productive things. When you're
Yeah.
like, yeah, okay, so I'll give you a little bit of like the dopamine. Now do the thing that I like, which you can trick it a little bit better. But like,
Yeah.
welcome to the club, bud.
Thank you. Good to be
Yeah,
here.
you
No,
got a
that
lot of work to do, but like,
it's
good job.
well, it's my first day,
I
so
know. Welcome.
I'm trying.
I really didn't
Um,
think I did it. I had it for so long because I was like, no, I'm pretty sure I killed that test
yeah.
one time in fourth grade
Which
that was given hung up by a hungover teacher.
it's also
You know what
very
I mean?
funny that it's like what another great representation of the US where they're like, yeah, no, we got this test.
We
Oh, so it's
got
like
it.
individual? No. You just kind of like play something for like 40 kids
Yeah, and
and
any kid
then
that doesn't explode
yeah.
is probably
And then
fine.
at the end it's like say red if you listen to all of this and then none of the kids say red and they're like, "Oh my god, it's an epidemic."
It's one kid said red, and all of us were like, red, red!
Yeah. They're like, "Holy shit."
Us too. I'm so glad that we got this work done today.
Yeah. Wow, yeah. Same time next week
Teresa,
or
I diagnosed Elliot with ADHD. Hi, you a dog. Come here.
well, I mean, we kind of got into it a little bit.
I'll do
Well, yeah, we can do
halfway. Yeah.
but I mean like just like books or any media or anything that's
TikTok. I hate
kind
to
of helped
recommend
you.
TikTok, but like TikTok. Ugh, don't lick my face. You're full of pee. Yeah.
TikTok, but
um,
you have to be conscious of the thin line between useful information and everything is a trauma response. Because oh boy.
oh, I have some notes actually about a previous episode, about something that you said in a previous episode, that goes along with this. Because yes, that's a really good point. TikTok is just a behemoth of individual idiots puking content towards a screen. It's up to us, just like, I don't know, 8 years ago or 5 years ago, when people are like, Instagram, so toxic. And it's like, well, what's toxic about it? Well, all you see is models and skinny tea and bodybuilders. It's like, bro, you're in charge of your feed.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
the calls are coming from inside the house. You're doing this. You're following those accounts. You're
Yeah.
liking those posts. And it's like, this is all I see. Yeah, dipshit. Also, my favorite classic that still occurs now, 15 years later, which is like, this whole app is gay. And it's like, no, bro. That's you. That is.
Is it the app? Is that what we're calling it now? The app?
Are
Okay.
you only seeing gay things?
Yeah.
So be in charge of your own channel. Be in charge. Like stuff that you want to continue liking in the future. and say, I don't like this for shit that's not helpful. Like teenagers, say no. If you see a teenager, say no. It's like Ghostbusters.
If you see a teen,
Get
say
them out
no.
of there. You can always like them later. They're children, by the way. But you can
As in later in life, not like when you get home and you're not around anyone. Later in
yeah,
life, when
not
they're
just
not
later tonight. Oh. But you're in charge. Cultivate, cultivate, cultivate,
Yeah.
cultivate. And then listen for what the shit makes sense. Like there's Katie Delaney's a really good one about ADHD content and isn't clickbaity. You know what I mean? Like she gives such a shit that she's like, here's a problem, and it's a bummer, and then it's really nice to listen to because you're like, that's my problem too. um, there's a lot of good content there, but cultivate it for yourself. TikTok really is kind of a cool aspect. I want to bring that back to something that you said on an earlier episode, which is this trope of slippery slope trigger warning stuff. And I just had a counterpoint, and I don't know if it's appropriate, and I don't care. It's that, well, everything should have a content warning. If anything has a content warning, then fuck, everything should, because it's all upsetting and it's all fucked up, but that's not true. If you search your heart, you know this is true. Content warnings, in their intention, serve to give people who have survived an insane amount of trauma a tiny heads up.
Yeah.
It solves nothing. It heals nothing. It abates nothing. It avoids nothing. It literally just gives a tiny little heads up. To generalize and classify content warnings as trying to make the entire world safe is just an unfair take. It's not realistic. It's not helpful. It's not true. Because a content warning, where do you see them most? Instagram posts on accused sexual assault, or you know what I mean? Like, where do you see them most?
Yeah.
It shouldn't trigger, and I understand that it does for a lot of people, it shouldn't trigger a response. If it does trigger a response, I implore you to investigate that, to look into that. What is that? What part of you is that hitting? Is it annoyance? Fair. Fucking fair. Annoyance at who? The victim? The perpetrator? Annoyance at who? Dig deeper and get to know your... Yeah, that's all. Because it's not... I don't know. Trigger warnings don't save anybody.
Yeah.
Because the content's still there, isn't it?
Yeah.
It might just help somebody be like, not today, bitch. Not today, Satan. Not today, Satan. And I use it. I wish, I've said this since my sister died in 2012. Do you know what I wish there was more of than anything as far as movie ratings go? When a parent loses a child and then they do that horrible death wail. That's what I want a content warning on.
Yeah.
I don't... Drugs, alcohol, tobacco, to me, those aren't triggering things. They are for others.
Yeah.
That's all. I think
I agree.
Warnings get a bad rap. Yeah. I'm here on the PR. I'm on the PR team for trigger warning.
You have another
TW.
This was given to me by the Trigger Warning Council.
It says trigger warning. You can't read it. Because it's in rainbow.
I mean, I agree. And I definitely... re-listening to that, I still felt like
a dick.
I was like, I don't think this, because it wasn't coming out how I meant it, but I just meant it more.
It stuck out to me, bud.
Really?
Because it didn't, and not just because of what you said, but it's like how you were saying it, and it's like, this is like a weird thorn in my little rib, like.
Yeah, I meant it more as like kind of like the way that some like people are taking cancel culture, where it's like, you did this thing, you're like you're done forever. But if the person's like,
Yeah.
oh, my bad, I didn't know, like, okay, and then they're like, no, you're a piece of shit, whatever. So I specifically was thinking, like, I've seen some
And you did say that other thing. That's, yeah.
but I've seen some TikTok comments that's like, this thing was in here, which I totally get is triggering. Like, I just the other, literally just the other day, I was at an open mic and people started like singing a song as a bit, which I didn't even realize was like triggering to me about this
That's
event in my
upsetting.
childhood, that I was like, I don't like this song. I don't like this. And I'm like, of course they're finishing the song. But they did enough of this song. And then whoever was like running the
How
light played the song
wild.
afterwards. And I was like,
Wild.
I don't like this song. I don't like this. So like, I understand that they're useful, and I wasn't trying to say that they're not or anything like that. But what I was specifically trying to reference was the
Yes.
people who it is something, like you said, how like it can be a specific thing like that wail, where they might think, okay, death happens in this, so we can put a warning on that. But it's such a specific thing.
Yeah.
It's like, that's so specific that you kind of have to list every single like
You don't have
thing. Or I know, but like the
to do it perfectly,
yes,
which
and
is an
that's
ADHD tendency.
don't you fucking diagnose me right now.
I'm not. I'm on my way to another point.
But
yes, the want to do it thoroughly, to do it
yes,
purposely, to do it correctly. It's like, well, shit. Well, there's also like a knife in that kitchen, and there's also the potential for like, oh my god, and she totally bleeds in the middle, so you definitely do. Also, like bodily fluids are kind of a general
yes.
good idea to be
But
like,
I'm saying
heads up, blood.
I've seen the people
Yes.
comment that are like, you didn't trigger warning the wail, like the
Yeah.
wailing. You're a piece of shit. And
Yeah.
then it's like, and that's where the person's
Well,
like, okay,
to
that's
you
a
I
very
am.
specific
Okay.
one. And like, I didn't mean it,
Of course.
but at the same time, like that I just meant more of that mindset
Yes. Of
of
like, you didn't
if
do this perfectly according to me, so
exactly,
you're in trouble.
exactly.
I'm now to the point of just, yep, I am a piece of shit to you, and that sucks, and I'm sorry, but
Yeah, yeah,
that's okay too. I didn't know that, OL was your shit.
yeah,
There's no world in which I would have known that. You think
exactly.
I'm a piece of shit? That's okay too. I'm going to do my best. Can I go back and edit the tags? Maybe. Can I make it a little bit better for people? Sure. But that initial opinion, especially in comments, is like, yeah, fuck me, right? Anyway, here's my video.
Yeah.
It's getting away from that rejection, sensitivity, dysphoria. That's going to come up a lot. Did you write that one down yet? You're going to want to write that one down.
That starts with an R, correct?
Rejection, sensitivity, dysphoria.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for bringing that up. I mean, that's all I meant by it. And even when I was editing it, I was like, I don't know if I want to
I
put this
felt it.
in.
I like felt that.
Just
I
because
felt
I'm
you
like,
wanting to edit it out, and I'm glad that you kept it in.
I was like, I just don't feel like this is coming off the way, and it's the worst when you feel that way, because then you're like,
what am I doing?
it's more of the
I
fucking
can hear it
overthinking
coming
thing
out of my mouth.
where you're like, turn it around. You know, you got that voice where it's like, you turn this fucking plane around, buddy. You do it right now. And then you keep saying
Left.
words, and it's like, you're going even more forward. It's not even possible. You're going more
You're
forward.
just tipping the controls down.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, I get it.
But so, were there any books or anything? I mean, you said TikTok.
No, bro,
but
I can't
is
read
that
books. It's stupid.
Audiobooks. What about audiobooks?
I manage
Or
my
like YouTube videos
Here's the thing.
or podcasts?
Yes, I'm not good.
All right, and thank you so much. We got that. We got it.
I don't read books. I did like that Gabor Mate's Wisdom of Trauma. But again, that really just put into perspective like my relationship with like drugs and alcohol, and like
Yeah.
also other kind of addictions that we cultivate in our adult life, which is like relationships and like family stuff. I don't know. It's a good listen. It's a good watch. I don't know. Do drugs. Do what makes you feel good.
So I'd recommend The Wisdom of Trauma, these TikTok accounts, and
Yeah,
drugs.
music. Yes,
And
I
that's
mean
pretty
drugs.
much it.
Yes.
That's pretty much it. Okay. Well, wrapping it up.
What a journey we've been on.
This
30.
You're telling me I have to go set up some appointments after this. I'm like, all right, let me write on my calendar.
I know you're joking, but like I'm really here for you for it.
I'm gonna ask you afterwards, like, who do I have to talk to get that set up? But we'll talk about that after. But I do want to wrap up on this.
5, baby.
So you can either say in like 10 seconds, it doesn't have to be exactly 10 seconds, but like quick, what you think the meaning of life is, or some like simple pleasures that you have. Like, for example, I love updating my phone apps. I have no idea why.
I love that about you.
But oh my God, when I
just
open it up
and
it's
updates
like
going.
It's like 20 possible updates.
Yeah.
I'm like, let's fucking go. I don't know why
I know why.
I open it up. I see that and I go, is it recess? What
the
is
potential
this?
for new? Hello.
Oh, yeah,
Hello.
That's it. Yeah. And that's probably what I have to talk about at my appointment. But so either, or you could do both. A quick meaning of life.
There is no point to life. It's pure happenstance that we're here. Get that out of your head. You'll have a slightly less depressing life, which is a lie. And I'm sorry, I just lied to you. You will have a more depressing life, but it will be more realistic. What was the second thing?
Just like a simple pleasure.
Dogs wearing winter mittens. Yes. They have no idea how to walk. There's a new batch of content every year because little puppies become grown puppies. You know what I mean? Just look up dogs with shoes. They walk so crazy.
This is gonna be a segment every time because you just fucking nailed it.
And follow your bliss. Follow your fucking dopamine. If that one song is giving you dopamine, ring that little bitch out. Find that YouTube mix that's 10 hours of it. And use it. It's there for you. Don't try to save it till later. What is later? We're all going to die. Use it now. You might hate that song later. Who cares? Nothing's real.
Very true.
Death is all around us. I'm drinking
cheers.
Literally Diet Pepsi.
Death is all around us. Diet Pepsi. Beat that, Kendall Jenner.
Yeah, I was gonna say Chloe, and I knew it was wrong.
I think it's Kendall. I don't know. All right. Anything you want to plug? Where can people find you?
In my house. I have agoraphobia. We haven't even talked about that.
Oh boy.
No, I'm just here. I'll do podcasts, but I can't kind of go outside, so that's okay. I'm working on it, but I'm not good at it yet. So half-assing this agoraphobia thing, I will do any podcast.
Any podcast.
Thanks for everything, bud.
I should really be saying thank you.
Thanks.
What are your handles? Where can people
at Arlo
find
CW?
You?
Any help that you can offer to block these anime bigots, I would appreciate.
Get an alt, get a burner.
Right. That's where I should put all my spicy anime takes that I like to think. Fuck me, right?
I mean,
I got a lot of
climate.
I did get a lot of heat from liking the prequels, but from Star Wars. But it was only because it was fun to find out what happened before. Do I condone Jar Jar Binks? Absolutely not. That's not a part of my opinion. Was it fun to find out what happened before? Yes.
Yeah.
And for that reason, those movies are okay. Oh, Jar Jar's pretty bad.
Jar Jar is, but I'm not gonna lie, as a kid, fucking loved it. I ate him up. I was like, this dude is
you were a
fun.
child. I was dating a college man.
And I was too, but that's a whole different discussion. That's a whole
Next
different
week on
podcast.
what we were doing.
All right, Arlo, well, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me. I'm sorry
sharing
to do
all
this
of
again
this
to you.
with us. No, and I want to have you back on at some point.
Good.
But I'm gonna have to sort of settle into my new life now before that comes on, and then I find out something else about myself. I find out something completely different.
I just like knowing
yeah.
we both have to pee right now.
Very true. Very true. A little behind the curtain for the listeners.
BTS, baby.
All right. Well, thank you for coming on. Thank you for listening. Check in next time when I'm back with another great guest and another great lesson. I'm still working on the outro. You're still
working on the intro. Who are we kidding?
Okay. Anyways, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time. Bye.